How's it going, everybody? ChaoticMeatball here, and welcome to a new series on the channel, something that you actually may be familiar with if you've watched Chizzy's channel. He's done a series where he takes monotype teams built with the best of the best Pokemon available for each type in Pokemon Emerald Kaizo. And I asked him if I could attempt this in Blue and Crystal Kaizo, unless he had plans to, of course. He said he didn't have plans to, so here we are. I am probably nowhere near as good as him when it comes to Pokemon, but I'm hoping that this series improves my knowledge and ability to get through tough battles even while under-leveled, since I always seem to be on-level or over-leveled for just about every mainline Pokemon game battle. Anyway, I've already done this game in a full challenge a few months back with the water types, so I figured it would be wise to go to the normal type, then finish off the other two starting types, then give you guys the option to vote for what type you want to see after those. Leave a comment down below to tell me what type other than normal, fire, water, and grass you'd like to see, with the exception of Steel, Dark, and Fairy, because of course those types don't exist in Generation 1. Upvotes don't count, and multiple comments don't count. I'll keep my eyes out. With that being said though, let's get into the team building. Starting off here, we don't necessarily have the biggest group of normal types in the world, as we only have 11 fully evolved pure normal types available, those being Raticate, Persian, Wigglytuff, Clefable, Lickitung, Chansey, Kangaskhan, Tauros, Ditto, Porygon, and Snorlax, and 4 fully evolved partial normal types in Pidgeot, Fearow, Farfetch'd, and Dodrio. That's actually probably more options than we'll have with other types, but we're gonna have to build around the Elite Four specifically. And unfortunately, we only have the option for flying as a subtype here. For the first episode here, though, let me go over the league itself and what Pokemon each member has. For Lorelei, she has Cloyster with Blizzard, Explosion, and Clamp. Nidoqueen with Earthquake, Blizzard, Lovely Kiss, and Thunderbolt. Vaporeon with Hydro Pump, Blizzard, Body Slam, and Sand Attack. Jinx with Blizzard, Lovely Kiss, and Psychic. Lapras with Blizzard, Thunderbolt, Surf, and Body Slam. And Articuno with only Blizzard and Sky Attack for some reason. Professor Oak, replacing Bruno, has Raichu with Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, Surf, and Body Slam. Machamp with High Jump Kick, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Body Slam. Chansey with Soft Boiled, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Thunder Wave. Charizard with Fire Blast, Earthquake, Slash, and Body Slam. Venusaur with Sleep Powder, Razor Leaf, and Body Slam. And Blastoise with Hydro Pump, Blizzard, Earthquake, and Body Slam. Agatha's got Hypno with Thunder Wave, Hypnosis, and Psychic. Tentacruel with Surf, Blizzard, and Wrap. Jinx with Lovely Kiss, Blizzard, and Psychic. Executor with Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, and Psychic. Gengar with Hypnosis, Psychic, Seismic Toss, and Nightshade. And Alakazam with Thunder Wave, Psychic, and Recover. Lance has Kangaskhan with Hyper Beam, Body Slam, and Earthquake. Electabuzz with Thunderbolt, Ice Punch, Psychic, and Thunder Wave. Lapras with Blizzard, Surf, Thunderbolt, and Body Slam. Dragonite with Thunder Wave, Blizzard, and Wrap. Snorlax with Lovely Kiss, Hyper Beam, Body Slam, and Earthquake. And Aerodactyl with Sky Attack, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Razor Wind. Lastly, we have our rival, who has Mew with Psychic, Soft Boiled, Thunder Wave, and Body Slam. Jolteon with Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, Body Slam, and Sand Attack. Executor with Stun Spore, Sleep Powder, and Psychic. Starmie with Thunder Wave, Blizzard, Thunderbolt, and Recover. Tauros with Hyper Beam, Body Slam, and Earthquake. And Mewtwo with Psychic, Recover, Thunder Wave, and Body Slam. 30 Pokemon to contend with, and only 6 Pokemon of the same typing to work against them. Luckily, the only fighting type we'll have to worry about here is Machamp, so I'm not too scared, but that comes to the actual team itself. The team I decided to go in with was pretty hard to come up with, as I wanted my fair share of just straight normal types, but Pokemon like Pidgeot, Fearow, and Dodrio were too much to pass up, so I figured I'd limit myself to 2 of the flying types and the rest being mono-normal. The first entrant to the team is Dodrio. With access to agility, I also have access to the badge boost glitch. While getting +2 speed off of agility, I'll be able to power up my other moves by getting an attack boost, those being Sky Attack, Hyper Beam, and Tri-Attack. I opted for these instead of something like a Body Slam or Double Kick, since I figured most of my other members will have Body Slam. And Tri-Attack is one of the only moves that can afflict status ailments on the opponent. Stuff like Burn, Paralysis, and Freezing will assist immensely. Especially Freezing, as in Generation 1, a Pokemon can't thaw out by itself, it must use a Fire-type move to do so. Sky Attack has also been buffed to no longer take an extra charging turn. Hyper Beam is just as broken as in Vanilla Gen 1, allowing you to move the next turn after you used it, assuming you managed to KO the Pokemon in front of you. The second entrant on my team is Fearow, who also has a similar utility with Drill Peck, Agility, Hyper Beam, and Razor Wind. The biggest thing on Fearow's moveset is Razor Wind, which was buffed immensely, no longer needing a turn to charge the attack, and being able to flinch the opponent. However, it is limited to 5 power points in order to prevent it from being too powerful. With these two out of the way though, I'm not going to be using Farfetch'd since it's far too frail compared to the other birds, only having access to Substitute, Sand Attack, Slash, and Agility by level up, and honestly it's the worst normal flying type in the game, no need to go for it. Pidgeot is solid, but I really don't need it with what I've got planned. Third up on my list is Clefable. If you recall several of my Gen 1 challenges before, you'll know that Clefable is one of the most versatile Pokemon in the entire Generation 1, being able to access so many TMs, but I decided on the moveset of Blizzard, Fire Blast, Thunder, and Body Slam. I wanted to have that core of attacks that take care of the likes of Cloyster, Vaporeon, Jinx, Articuno, Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise. All of these are really strong boss Pokemon that we've got in this league, and Clefable does it well with a respectable base 85 special. I also gave it Body Slam for that paralysis factor, since being able to do that and follow up with one of the strong elemental attacks, or use it for something that isn't foiled easily by those special attacks such as Alakazam, will be very important for maximum utility. Fourth up on the team is Chansey, and that's because they brought its defense up from 5 to 45 base defense. So yeah, we're going to be extremely well off. Having it as a tank and an attacker will be insane. I decided to give it a moveset of Thunder Wave, Soft Boiled, Psychic, and Thunderbolt. I had the option of Thunderbolt or Ice Beam, and since Blizzard is a 90% accurate move in Generation 1, and Thunder is 70%, I figured I'd give Chansey the role of making up for Clefable if it happens to not land Thunder. Thunder Wave and Soft Boiled is a great stall device, and Psychic is going to be great for those pesky poison types like Tentacruel, Venusaur, and Gengar specifically. Fifth up on the team is Tauros, and you knew that this was going to happen. Tauros is notable for being one of the highest tier Pokemon available in the Gen 1 metagame, and it is no different in Blue Kaizo. In fact, it has a few little buffs, bringing its attack from a base 100 to base 105, and speed from a base 110 to 115. I gave the moveset of Body Slam, Earthquake, Hyper Beam, and Ice Beam. Ice Beam's just decent coverage, and with the massive physical attack, I should be fine with the other 3 moves. Lastly, I was torn between Kangaskhan and Snorlax, but I figured I'd go for Snorlax so that I can have some more bulk on my team. Not to mention, it's one of the only normal type Pokemon that can learn Self-Destruct. It can't get Explosion, but I can at least go for Chizzy's patented OK Boomer on anything that happens to be too much for the rest of my team. So, the moveset, of course, is Self-Destruct, Hyper Beam, Lovely Kiss, and Earthquake. Another Earthquake user is going to be nice, Self-Destruct and Hyper Beam are self-explanatory from before, and Lovely Kiss is my only way of putting anything to sleep on the opponent's team, so it'll be nice having that. With all that being said though, let's get into the battles themselves. The first battle I had to handle was against Lorelei, who starts off with a Cloyster. This thing has Explosion, but because of Generation 1 AI, they seem to just go for random moves when they don't have anything super effective against you. So I sent in Clefable to attempt to go for Thunder. She goes for Blizzard, missing though, even though it's 90% accurate. But Thunder hits for 70% accuracy. Alright, that's not fair, but she does hit a Blizzard next turn. Unfortunately for me, the 70% accuracy on Thunder isn't the bane of my existence, KOing Cloyster and putting us up to 6-5. Next out is Nidoqueen, so I went for Blizzard, tanking an Earthquake and barely not going down as I hit a critical to KO and pull off a 2-for-1 with Clefable. Thankfully, she sends in the slow tank of Vaporeon as her third, so I went for Thunder again, nailing it 3 times in a row and getting a critical on top of it. Clefable finally goes down to Hydro Pump afterwards, so I went straight for Chansey. It has Thunderbolt, and I know this thing can't touch me. Sure enough, it misses with Sand Attack as I nearly KO with Thunderbolt, following up next turn after Uber tanking a Hydro Pump, leading to Jinx. Here's an interesting case I completely forgot about though. As I was slower, I decided to go for Thunder Wave so that I could heal up with Soft Boiled and swap out. But trainers in Blue Kaizo can still use items inside of battle, like full heals. And they practically have an infinite supply of them, so status moves are just not helpful in this case. Jinx eventually wears down Chansey with an assortment of attacks, taking it down as I decided to get serious with Tauros. A critical hit Earthquake ends Jinx's day with Lapras coming out to replace her, going for Thunderbolt as I hit a weak Earthquake. I do the same next turn, hitting a critical as she takes down Tauros with Blizzard, so I'm in a little bit of a pinch. I feel that Lapras is at low enough HP though, so I take the risk and go out into Dodrio, despite it being weak to Ice and Electro-type attacks, something that Lapras has in both Blizzard and Thunderbolt. But fortunately, I outspeed and hit Hyper Beam to KO, leaving just Articuno. I figured I'd outspeed this just as well, so I went for Hyper Beam, barely missing the KO with a critical as Blizzard is just a one-shot KO, leaving me with only 2 more Pokemon. Fearow is pretty close in speed though, so I just went into that, KOing after a Drill Peck, sealing the deal with a 2-0 victory. I'm surprised that I didn't have to bring out Snorlax for that battle and explode on anything. If I had to do that with any of her Pokemon though, I'm sure it would probably have been Articuno, but that critical Hyper Beam definitely sealed her fate. Second in the lineup is Professor Oak, replacing Bruno as he now runs the Saffron Fighting Dojo in this game. While that's cool, that does mean we're going to have to contend with the 4 main starters of Gen 1, Raichu, Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard. He leads with the Raichu, so I went for Tauros, and since it's a pretty speedy bull, it pulls out a powerful Earthquake, KOing immediately and leading to Machamp. Body Slam does slightly under half to Machamp as I was attempting to bait the paralysis so that he'd immediately use a full heal, allowing me to follow up with the KO with Hyper Beam. But I'm unlucky, getting annihilated with a high jump kick, KOing Tauros and leaving me with a choice. It was a relatively easy one to make of course, since I just went for Dodrio, KOing with a Sky Attack. Next on the list is his Chansey, and thanks to its buff defense, I was a little bit worried that Hyper Beam wasn't going to KO. And I was correct on that assumption, as a critical wasn't enough to put it down, so it follows up with an Ice Beam to put Dodrio 6 feet under. Fearow is still around though, so I'm able to pick up the Revenge KO with Drill Peck, putting me at a relatively solid 4-3 lead. Last up are the 3 starters, first of which is Charizard, so I went for Razor Wind and got the flinch, just as I had hoped, giving me a free 2-shot and leading to Venusaur. Drill Peck is an easy KO, can't get better than that, giving us an extremely solid 4-1 lead that even the Golden State Warriors couldn't blow. Oh, sorry? That was a 3-1 lead and they would have won with 4? Yeah, I don't care, wrestling is the only sport that matters. Blastoise isn't fast enough to outspeed Fearow, so I went for an all-or-nothing Hyper Beam, only doing a wee bit over half HP, so he goes for Blizzard, nearly destroying Fearow, but Fearow is a boss. He doesn't go down to a Blizzard, he hangs on with 6 HP. Sadly it doesn't matter as I still have a recovery turn, but he misses with Blizzard, giving me the perfect opportunity to use one more Hyper Beam, pulling off an insane 4-0 victory with a monotype team in a Kaizo game. See kids, this is why Sinister Hooded Figure put Tauros in Cerulean Cave, so you couldn't perform the same carnage that I'm doing now. Agatha's up third and she starts with a Hypno with shockingly only 3 attacks. You'd think that Sinister Hooded Figure would have at least filled in the movesets, especially with something like Articuno in the first battle with only 2 attacks, but I digress. Instead, I'll fill this Hypno with Hyper Beam to take it out of my sight, putting me immediately at a 6-5 lead. Second out is Exeggutor, and fortunately I thought ahead, as I put Ice Beam on Tauros, giving me a super effective attack. Unfortunately though, it barely did anything. I probably would have done a lot more with a normal type attack rather than 20%, as she followed up with Psychic, doing a straight 200 damage and lowering my special. This actually enables the badge boost glitch though, which if you don't know, reapplies the badge boosts you get from the odd numbers badges, giving me a 12.5% boost to my attack, defense, and speed since she lowered my special. So of course this led me to go for Hyper Beam, getting a one-shot critical and leading to Tentacruel. It falls immediately to a Hyper Beam leading to Jinx, who I used Earthquake on. Looking back, I could have done a lot more damage with Hyper Beam, as I was still thinking that Ground was super effective against Ice, so I only did about half and Jinx was able to put down Tauros. I sent out Clefable third to attempt to go for Fire Blast, but Jinx outsped and hit Lovely Kiss. Yeah, I definitely should have gone for Dodrio, but hey, we all make mistakes sometimes. She KOs Clefable with a Blizzard and a Psychic, giving me the chance to make up for my mistake and send out Dodrio, KOing it with Hyper Beam and leading to Gengar. Sky Attack is my only attack on Dodrio that can really touch this thing, and it's a near one-shot, but for some reason, she just kept going for Seismic Toss? So I was able to live 2 of them, KO and leave just her Alakazam, which goes for Recover at full HP, which just lets me KO it with Sky Attack for free and win. I thought this was a Kaizo game. I guess you can only push Gen 1 so far before it just pushes back against you, but I digress again. The last of the Elite Four is up next, and that's Lance. He has a relatively threatening team, but I think I can handle it with my advanced knowledge. He starts with Kangaskhan, so I led with Dodrio, which I know can stand up to 2 of his attacks. I set up 2 agilities against him to get my speed up by 4 stages, but also activating that handy-dandy badge boost glitch, giving me a 26.5625% attack boost for all of you math fans out there. Hi, I'm a math fan. With that, I tanked 2 body slams, living on 21 HP before destroying it with 1 critical Hyper Beam and leading to Lapras. I went for a second Hyper Beam, doing a bit over half, with him missing a Thunderbolt, which I'm pretty sure is a 1 in 256 glitch, but Blizzard KOs Dodrio either way, making my setup a useless effort. However, I went for Tauros to take the revenge KO with Hyper Beam. I'm still up 5-4 against him though, so I'm all good. Electabuzz is his 3rd Pokemon, so I went for Earthquake, nearly one-shotting and letting him get off a critical Psychic, which I did not expect to do nearly as much as it did, even with a critical. But I followed up with a 2nd Earthquake, leading to Dragonite. I went for Ice Beam, which is a quad weakness, so I'm sure that it would have done more than a normal type attack. And it still didn't KO though, so we went for Wrap. I guess let's just wait here until Tauros either goes down or the lock ends. Yep. More Wrap. Cool. Oh, there it is, it finally ended. So Tauros is able to get off a 2nd Ice Beam for the KO, leading to Lance's 5th Pokemon, Snorlax. Tauros outspeeds and nails a half damage Hyper Beam, so Snorlax is able to follow up with Earthquake, taking down Tauros. So I figured it's time for Snorlax's debut, going for Hyper Beam to win the mirror match and pick up the revenge KO, leaving just Aerodactyl. I figured that this would be the best time to go for the OK Boomer, surviving a Sky Attack to do massive damage to Aerodactyl, even for a resistance. So I sent out Chansey to pick up the KO with Thunderbolt, since there was no way that Aerodactyl was going to pick up a one-shot on a buffed Chansey. This just leaves the rival fight, which is appropriately named Bruh. Because bruh, how was it this easy to get up to this point? Well, I can tell you that Dodrio and Tauros have been doing the heavy lifting, and they certainly are some of the few broken Pokemon that Gen 1 provides. With that said, let's dig into the champion, shall we? He's got 2 legendaries on his team, both Mew and Mewtwo, showing he's taken his Pokedex completion seriously. But sadly for him, this is the file I did the Professor Oak's challenge on. Just so you can't beat 151, baby! He leads with Mew as I go for Tauros, both of us thinking the same thing and going for Body Slam. Mine has the same type attack bonus, and is a critical, so of course mine does far more, letting Tauros hit a Hyper Beam to KO, and giving me the early 6-5 lead. Second up is Jolteon, so of course I went for Earthquake, as for some reason it uses its turn for Body Slam. Twice, and somehow doesn't paralyze, letting Tauros pick up a 2-for-1 after a 2nd Earthquake and leading to Exeggutor. I made the same mistake I did going against the first one, going for Ice Beam and only doing about 25% damage as he goes for Stun Spore, outspeeding next turn and KOing with Psychic, putting me down to 5 members. Clefable is my follow-up play. Since I can go out to Dodrio for Sky Attack, I don't see Clefable playing much of a role in this battle, so I'd rather wall up while landing 2 Blizzards, getting paralyzed and taking half damage in the process, but taking out Executor like a champ. Fourth out is Starmie, doing a bit of damage to Clefable as I hit a massive Thunder for over half, but it reciprocates with a second Thunderbolt, KOing Clefable. I have 4 members left, 2 of them are birds, so I went out into Dodrio, thinking I would outspeed, but I don't. Getting a Thunder Wave as a punishment, but Dodrio's able to pull through, hitting a Hyper Beam to get the revenge KO as Bruh sends in Tauros. I'm scared of what this thing can do, quite frankly, because I have the experience of using one throughout this video, and sure enough, he immediately goes for the full to 0 HP Hyper Beam, leaving me with only 3 more options. So I went into Fearow in hopes that I could Razor Wind him down. I went for Agility just to be able to outspeed after a Body Slam, going for Razor Wind and leaving it up to chance. Sure enough, I get the flinch, allowing Fearow to finish it off next turn and leave just the final challenge, Mewtwo. This is pretty fitting for a Gen 1 game, but I get a critical flinch Razor Wind, so I'm assuming it's going to end in pretty quick fashion. But Fearow does miss the Hyper Beam as it gets hit with a Thunder Wave and Body Slam, taking it down. I'm still up 2-1 though, so I went into Snorlax, did a self-destruct, only to forget that it only has 1 power point, and I didn't heal it. Fortunately for me though, after Mewtwo goes for Recover, Snorlax lands a critical Hyper Beam, KOing and winning me the league with the 2nd out of 15 types in the game. I was actually worried about this league being difficult for normal types, but after assessing what I had as options, I went in and was able to beat the league within an hour, not really needing many attempts at all to clear everyone out. With that being said, I'll leave it up to you guys in the comments to determine who I do after Fire and Grass. Which one will come out next? Find out next week. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this new style of video that I'll be doing here on the channel for the foreseeable future with Blue and Crystal Kaizo. Of course, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, be a nice guy. But definitely do comment down below about what types you want to see. Do you want me to do the extremely difficult types first, like Dragon, in which case we only have the Dratini line to work with, or Ghost, where we only have the Ghastly line? That's going to be up to you guys. Also, make sure to follow me over at twitch.tv/ChaoticMeatballTV, link is in the description. We are very close to finishing the Black 2 White 2 POC, and that's about it. So guys, make sure to stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.